Welcome to Techstination. Joining us is Michelle Turner, Senior Director of Smart Home Products at Google. Thanks for joining us, Michelle.
Thanks for having me, Fred. I'm happy to be here.
And Google has brought the Nest product line really under its umbrella formally over the last number of months, and the integration continues. Tell us about some of the changes that have been taking place.
I think the biggest things that we've been looking at are in three major areas. The first is just how do we align these product lines more effectively. You saw the Nest Hub Max announcement, which integrates in a Nest Cam functionality. And so I think that's one example of where we're very thoughtfully integrating in the technology together to combine two great products all into one to make it more useful for consumers. The next area that we've done is we've been looking at our overall privacy policies and how are we bringing the Google high degree of privacy and security to all of our users. And so we'll be seeing some changes. You heard about those announcements at Google I/O, and those will be rolling out over the next several weeks. And we're really excited about that because this is such a critical area for consumers that we're excited to be proactive on that. And the other area we've looked at, and this is my personal domain here at Google more directly, is how do we align things for developers to make them more streamlined and to make it easier for our partners to develop in the smart home arena with Google. And we've done this by pulling the Works with Nest program and starting to deprecate that and moving more of our partners over to the very robust Works with Google Assistant program, which has grown tremendously over the last couple of years.
So there may be some consumer confusion going on here about what the difference is if Works with Nest is going away, but Works with Google Assistant is the new thing. What should people know?
Yes, I can understand where there might be a little confusion. Let's see if I can clear that up for you. So Works with Nest was a program that was originally designed to build an ecosystem around Nest-specific devices. And that allowed a consumer to be able to have a Nest thermostat. And then if they bought something like connected light bulbs, they would be able to have those connected light bulbs, say, turn on or off when a user left home or arrived at home. And there were a number of those types of integrations, and they were pretty popular, but they really relied on the consumer to go in and set up that integration between those two parties. And it was all of those integrations were very one device to one other device types of integrations, and so you'd have to set them up all individually. As we fast forward into kind of I always say the next phase of this, where we're looking at more of an ecosystem approach, and I think the biggest difference here, as opposed to being device to device, we're now looking at a world in which the Google Assistant is providing a lot of that orchestration of these devices, and it enables consumers to connect together and orchestrate multiple devices. The consumers are still in control. They still OAuth just the same way that they did when they had Works with Nest. But now through the Google Assistant, I can do something like say, okay, gee, I'm leaving, and I can then have my thermostat kick into eco mode. I can have all my lights go off, etc. I can have my alarm system set to away, so I'm leaving the house, and the alarm system goes on. I can check to make sure that my doors are all locked. I can make sure that the garage door is closed, et cetera. So I can orchestrate through routines a whole set of devices, which takes the complexity out of kind of smart home for the consumer. So now as smart home has really progressed, we're looking at a world where trying to get these devices to all orchestrate together, because people who have smart home, our data shows if you have a broadband connection and you're using smart home devices today, you're on average having about 10 devices in your home. So we've really moved past where we were back in 2014, I think it was, when Works with Nest first launched, when people might have one, maybe two smart devices in their home. where they're trying to solve different problems. And that's why we think the shift to the focus around Works with Google Assistant is so important and so much more useful for consumers. So does that help?
It does. And what should consumers know about the products that they may already have? Some of them will continue to work, some won't.
So if you have a current Works with Nest connection and you want to keep using it the way you have been, you can continue to do that, and we will fully support that. The one difference there is we are asking people, and consumers that have Nest devices today will start seeing this over the coming months. We will ask them if they want to move to a Google account. And we will warn them, if you move to a Google account, your Works with Nest connection will break because we're moving over to the Google authenticated authentication system. And when you do that, that Works with Nest connection will no longer be valid. If you want to keep your Works with Nest connection, just stay on your existing Nest account. However, there's a lot of these types of integrations that can be completely replicated today through the use of routines, custom routines with the Google Assistant. So, for example, the example I just gave you of I'm leaving, I have a good night routine where I say, okay, gee, good night, and it turns off all the lights, it turns on the alarm system, it sets my thermostat to eco mode, etc. So I'm able to orchestrate a lot of the same types of things that I had with Works with Nest now through the Google Assistant, but I'm able to orchestrate all those devices at once. So if you feel comfortable as a Nest user that moving to the Google Assistant routines or building your own custom routine is going to satisfy what you were doing with Works with Nest before, you can move to that today, and you can move to Google authentication. If you have a very specific routine set up that, or Works with Nest integration set up that you choose not to change, just stay on your Nest account. And so that's the simplest way for consumers to move today.
All righty. Let's talk about some of the products that you have on the market, and you've really refreshed the lineup and have some great stuff that we've been checking out as well. Give us an overview of what the ecosystem looks like in-house there.
So, yeah, I think that the biggest announcement we have recently is the Nest Hub Max, which is our kind of next generation version of the Google Hub, the Google Home Hub that we launched last October. The Nest Hub Max is a bigger screen. It has a camera. It has better speaker capability. I've been testing this product in my home for a while now. I think the two things that consumers will be most excited about is the sound is really great, and I have I test a lot of products in my job, which is great. And the speaker quality is on par with a lot of the really good speakers that are out there on the market. So that's one of the major improvements that we've made. The second is just the screen capability. It's bigger. I really love the fact that when I walk up to the screen, it knows who I am. It gives me a very personalized view of my day. When I walk into, I have mine in my kitchen. I walk in the kitchen in the morning. It welcomes me when I walk in. It tells me what my next meetings are. It tells me how long my commute is to work. I don't have to do a single thing, and I don't have to say, okay, gee, or anything like that. It just sets me up for my day. And I can tap on it to get more details about my day, which, as I'm feeding the dogs and getting lunch together and all of that, is just a nice thing to have running and going. So it really gives me all that information that I need to get my day moving. On top of that, it has all of the standard capability that you have with the Nest, Google Home Hub today, as well as all of the Google Home speakers. So all of the assistant functionality that you've traditionally had, a really great kitchen experience with our recipes integration. I use that pretty much every day now. And all of your smart home controls at just the swipe of a finger by being able to bring down the home view. So it integrates in with all of your other devices as well. Including
the video doorbell that you have on the market, the Hello.
Right, and so that integration continues to work the way it has in the past, and I love this. I really love this integration. Somebody comes to my door, they ring my doorbell. The Google Nest Hub lets me know that somebody's at the door. And in fact, I have a couple of speakers around the house, so it tells me that the doorbell is ringing. I actually have familiar face alerts, and so if somebody comes to the door that I've identified in the past, It can tell me that Cole's at the door, my son's at the door, the neighbor's at the door, and that is just incredibly useful. And then I can just tap on the screen. It has, and I can talk to that person from the screen. I can say, hang on just a second, or I'll be right there, or I can have a conversation with them if they just want to drop something off. If it's the UPS guy and he needs a signature, I can find out as opposed to them just dropping off a package. So it provides sort of that two-way communication, extremely low latency, so I can have an ongoing conversation. That's something that we worked really hard on because we know that in a doorbell scenario, when somebody's at your door and you want to talk to them, it has to feel natural and free-flowing. And so having very, very, very low latency is incredibly important. You don't want to have this kind of glitchy conversation with somebody at your door. So that's really one of our flagship implementations that we have, and that continues to be available and even better on the Nest Hub Max because it's a bigger screen.
And of course, when you talk about the latency, being notified quickly, even if you're not home, is pretty important.
Yeah. And that continues to be, I think this is really one of the great values of smart home devices overall. Really nice, though, when I'm not home and I can see that somebody's at the door and it just, I get that notification on my phone. I can tap on it. I can send them a quick action that says just leave the package or I'll be right there, or some sort of a quick action if I'm someplace where I can't talk to them. But if I choose to talk to them, I can just tap on it and have a conversation. Like if I need to get a signature or my neighbor's at the door and they need to give me a quick message, I can do that as well. And, that holds true for so many of our other products, like Nest Protect, where you can get a notification if your smoke alarm's going off and you're not home. The safety ability that we provide via that functionality on your phone is so incredibly useful. So if you're not home and your smoke alarm goes off or your CO alarm goes off, being able to find out what's going on quickly. We have a camera integration with that as well. So if you have Nest Cams and a Nest Protect and your Nest Protect goes off, I can go into my Nest Cam and see what's going on at my house. And I've had that situation happen to me a couple of times. Fortunately, nothing bad was going on, but just that peace of mind and being able to look and see what's happening in my home. Is there something I need to worry about? Do I need to call the fire station, et cetera? That is all super useful. And I think that speaks to the overall utility of smart home devices in general.
And the Nest Protect, really from the outset, has given families an option to have I guess, less alarming alarm, if I can put it that way.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, so the Nest Protect is both our smoke and CO detector, and it's a really unique device. It's one of those devices that you don't think about how useful it is until you really need it. And a lot of times that's when something's going off in your house. So if you're sitting in your living room and all of a sudden there's a CO alert upstairs where your kids are sleeping and you get that notification on your phone and you can quickly go up and see what's going on and open windows or whatever needs to happen in that particular scenario, it's a life-saving device. And we have an amazing number of people who have written into us to let us know how we have actually saved their families, saved their homes, saved their pets in situations where there has actually been an emergency. And one of the things that's really nice about the Nest Protect is that it has a human voice. We did a lot of testing on the human voice before we put this product out. We wanted a voice that was assuring and not scary, because a lot of times if there is an actual fire event in the house, kids will get afraid. They'll get really scared. They'll hide under their beds. It'll be hard for the fire department to find them. So we wanted a reassuring voice to keep them from being scared, to know that they could go, find their parents, or if a fireman came into the house, they'd be able to come out more easily instead of being so frightened. And that voice is, just lets you know when there is that first wave of we think we are detecting smoke or we think that there's an event, And then it'll escalate to the point where it definitely detects whether there's particulate matter, whether there's smoke or a CO event, and then it will send off the full alarm. But if you've just burnt the bacon, it's really nice to be able to have it say, hey, I think I smell smoke, and be able to turn it off. And you can turn it off directly on the device, or you can turn it off from your phone. And it just makes it a whole lot easier to use. Instead of having, I know so many people, including myself with my old smoke detectors, where I've pulled them off the ceiling, pulled them down, and taken them like into another room instead of having the thing blare. So it's an incredible, really useful device to have in the home.
It really is. And when it comes to the cameras, you have some add-on services as well that can make them more intelligent, more useful. Give us a bit of an overview.
Yeah, so with our cameras, all of our cameras can take part in the Nest Aware service. And what Nest Aware provides is a streaming, a camera video recording service. And you can choose whether you want 5-day, 10-day, 30 days of streaming video to store. And a lot of people take just the 5-day option. It's really useful to have that video storage if you need to go back and look at what happened in an event, particularly if, unfortunately, there was some sort of a burglary or even a package theft, or you just want to see if there was somebody around your house and look at suspicious activity. And with that comes both personal alerts, and on our IQ cameras and on Nest Hello, you can also get familiar face detection as well, so that you can detect who is around your home. And what's probably most useful in that is knowing when somebody who is unfamiliar is around your home. So, and you know what, it might just be a new gardener or a new UPS person. But to be able to understand, and when you're not home, if there's somebody whose face isn't recognized around your house, is a really great feature and provides a lot of peace of mind to our customers. So, and the way it works is when you buy your camera, you set your camera up, and then you'll get an option to start your free trial of Nest Aware. And I really recommend that people start that free trial to determine if this is a useful product for them. And you'll start getting both personal alerts, and if you choose to, depending on the camera you have, you can also set it up for familiar face alerts as well. And you can choose if you want to have the alerts come to your phone, come to your email, come to both. You can use the settings to determine how many notifications you want to get. And if you have an outdoor camera and it's on a busy street in San Francisco or New York City, you may not want to have notifications coming to your phone all the time. You may want to set those notification levels down a lot lower, or you may just want to get a summary of those notifications. But if you're in a more rural area or a more suburban setting, it may make a lot of sense to be able to get those person notifications on a regular basis. It's super easy for consumers to use, and it's really cost effective, particularly, unfortunately, there are a lot of situations where you need to go back and look at your video footage to see what happened with an event. And sometimes it didn't even happen to you. We've had customers who live in more of an urban setting ask for, hey, can you send me an alert? My car was broken into and it was sitting right outside your house, things like that. And so we can help our neighbors as well by having that video footage.
And how much does it cost?
So the Nest Aware pricing is for a $5 a month. For the 5-day clips, it's $5 a month, and the 30-day history costs $30 a month for the first camera, or $300 for the full year.
For more info on all of this, where's the best place to go?
So the best place to go to get any of these devices is to the Google Store, and I believe that is store.google.com. And you'll get great pricing and full availability of all of the great Google Nest products. If you want to figure out how to get Nest Aware for your cameras, you can go to store.google.com, look up Nest Aware, and it'll give you all of the different pricing tiers and pricing levels.
Terrific. Michelle Turner, thanks for taking the time with us.
Thank you for having me today, Fred.
Now this. Innovation. Hi, I'm Fred Fishkin, and I've been covering consumer technology for a long time, and it takes a lot to impress me. That's why I'm excited to tell you about the latest way to enjoy cooking in the great outdoors from my friend Patrick Sherwin and his great team at GoSun Stove. What if you could harness the sun to cook your meals anywhere you go, day or night? The GoSun Fusion arrives this summer using the company's tried and true reflectors and a solar vacuum tube to get you cooking without the mess of charcoal, heavy propane tanks, or smoke. And with an optional solar panel and battery storage, and the ability to plug in at home or on the road, you really can use the GoSun Fusion to cook anytime and anywhere. Want to learn more? Head to gosun.co and use the code TEXTINATION to save 10%. That's gosun.co.